sir. I met him last year in Texas, and he's a bit of a superstar here in the region. I call him the king of Dubai when it comes to entertainment. He's absolutely fantastic, and he's taught me so much about how to use social media to be not only an influencer, but also to be an artist. I've learned to make videos to really start drawing in my audience. He is a friend, he is a role model, and he is my great, great mentor. And you are going to love his session. Please give it up for the incredible Dave Crane.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Thank you, Michael, and hello to everybody here as well. How many people have heard of me before? How many people have never heard of me before? How many people don't care if you never see me again for the rest of your lives? Wonderful, at least we're honest here. Hi, it's me, Dave Crane. Welcome to Speak on Stage. I'm feeling really good today. I'm not really sure why, because I've adjusted everything. We've got more lighting in the room, I'm glad to say. Yesterday we had a few challenges, you may have noticed, and that's because it was really dark and everything was turning around and scaring me. And today it seems kind of like I'm here. Speak on Stage, as I mentioned, and every single day. It's every day now. I thought about it. I was going to take a day off. I was going to take a weekend off. But I decided I'd do it on Sunday, and the wife wasn't talking to me anyway. And you're the only people that bother. So I thought, why not? That's not the reason. I just thought I'd reach you on a daily basis. The thing is, the show's created to help you to grow your brand, to become an effective speaker and communicator, and make more money. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. Because I really believe that in challenging times, you don't have to do so much to change. You just have to be able to change inside first, starting with your mindset, then the way that you form the arguments, the conversations you're making, and then share them with the world. It's perfect marketing. But instead of spending all that money in Google ads and Facebook ads, which have their place and are very important as well as part of your brand to market it, you can start off in yourself by becoming a more effective speaker. As always, we're broadcasting first thing on a morning to the UK. Good morning. Don't spit your breakfast out. Yes, my job is to try and make it go, which is, well, cornflakes or porridge with milk, not with water. Actually, my wife's from Singapore, Aziza from Singapore. So I learned that porridge that I'm used to, which is like with oats and maybe some raisins in and some milk, and you cook it all up and it's really yummy with a bit of sugar on it. Or salt, it's up to you. It's completely different when you come from Asia. It's got rice in it, and it's got lots of bits and spices and stuff, and it's probably better. You have to try it yourself when you go to an international hotel, 5-star and beyond. So what was I talking about? Yeah, we love to find out where you're coming from. We do breakfast in the UK. We do sort of mid-mornings for 11s. Ow, this is burning my hand. Should remember to put it on that side for tomorrow. Look. I remember now that, ladies and gents, is hiccup. Hiccup, and that is toothless. And if I don't get myself to a dentist, yes, I will also be toothless. And today's show also goes out to India and Pakistan mid-afternoon, and to Australia and New Zealand late tea time and in America everyone's fast asleep. And a conversation yesterday with Ernesto Verdugo, because we're going to be doing the toilet paper diaries for you probably tomorrow. He's based in Houston, in Texas. And I was saying, I want to change the show timings. I don't want to do it at 9 o'clock in the evening. I want to do it daytime for me. And daytime for me means he's fast asleep. So we have to work it out. Because normally I broadcast 9 o'clock in the evening with the toilet paper diaries, and he's in Texas, Houston, and he's doing it at lunchtime. Oh, how cushy is that, Ernesto? Yeah, Google him, Ernesto Verdugo. It says under his profile, likes to have a good sleep in. So the show today is all about helping you to move forward. I've been told by my wife many different things, including make sure my shirt's buttoned up, so no horrible chest hair. We had that conversation yesterday. Also, don't go like that, my arms, because then you get horrible bingo arms. I don't agree with that. I've got my guns primed. You should change your shirt. And I'm going to be working out at least from. So I'll tell you about that when it comes forward. And she also says, don't lean forward because people can see the bald patches on your head. So now you've been warned. I'm never going to do any of that again today. Today's show is very exciting. I'm really, really excited by the idea of it because it's all about reinventing yourself. It's about finding a brand new you. So if you're excited by the idea of what reinventing yourself could really mean, well, let's think about it. You need to have a decent brand that people gravitate towards and want to work with. If you haven't got that, you're missing out on a huge opportunity because if people don't know who you are, they won't bother. Now, we talked yesterday about how somebody who's older can really find success online by creating this relationship with the outside world, by using their expertise to coach and mentor and work on short-term contracts with big business and small businesses, especially startup businesses, where you can be one of their sort of like mentors to come in and shake them up and help them. But you can't do that unless you've got a brand. Now, for many people of an older age, and I realize that when I'm talking about people of an older age, I don't mean everybody who watches the show, but I know a lot of people have this challenge. And right now, you're probably watching. I'd love to know. You don't have to tell me, but I'd love to know. You don't have to tell me. Tell me. No, don't. It's none of my business. How old are you? Can you put it? Can you tell me so I know? Just put a number so I can work out who my target audience is, because then I can create the content for you. By the way, always make sure that you click like. Every time I do something you like, put like. Do you know what? Why? It's not for my own gratification. I don't care. It is partly. It's mainly because if you like it, then the algorithms on the platforms, and we go out to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope and Twitter, they say, oh, this is working, let's get this out to more people. So your comments and your likes are really important to me because that means that more people will get to join our community and they'll join the Speak on Stage gang. That's the first time we're called Speak on Stage gang. I think it's a rubbish name. What should we call ourselves? The community. Speak on Stage community. Tribe? Tribe's not bad. Speak on Stage show? Shower? No, it's terrible. Okay, so as I was saying, the important thing is you need to be seen. You need to create your own brand. You need to think about who people are going to look for, and will they find it's you? And when they find it's you, will they be convinced that you're the person that they need to be connected to? Those are all big questions, and I really want to be able to address this as much as possible in today's show. So with that, I'm going to be sharing with you a number of different ideas about growing a brand. I'm going to start off with one of the biggest brands on the planet, which is James Bond. Pierce Brosnan, one of my favourite Bonds, even though he doesn't look anything like as tough as Daniel Craig. And an advert, which when you watch it, it's great to watch, but I want you to think about the positioning that Pierce Brosnan has associated with Bond, associated with the credit card, and associated with a relationship with travel. Watch this. It's coming up next on Speak on Stage.
This is the bronze now?
Here you go, boss, please.
Yes.
Sorry to keep you. Traffic was a killer.
Bossman?
So welcome back to Speak on Stage. Just showed you Pierce Brosnan, who was a very good Bond, great sense of humour, but he always complained that he never got the opportunity to play a tough nut. And I don't think he is really a tough nut. He's like a nice Bond. But he was very. I enjoyed some of his films. Some of his films are a bit, if you know what I'm saying. So whatever you're creating, this character that you're creating doesn't have to be the real version of you, but what it has to be is the version of you that you want to share with everybody. The closer you can make it to the version of you that you really are, the easier you'll find to wear it as a skin or as a hat or as a personality wherever you go, because there's nothing worse than trying to work out which version of you has to say what to whom. Let me put that in perspective. I've said this before and I really do live by it. I don't tell lies. I sometimes admit I get things wrong and I'm happy to be wrong. But I believe that to tell a lie, you've got to have another 15 lies to back it up and keep it afloat. And each of them needs another 15 lies and so on. I couldn't stay on top of that. I'd much rather just say what I think, be honest, give it a lot of thought maybe before I speak. And sometimes, yes, I know I don't. I'm looking over there, Aragon. Yes, Aragon, Mr. Strider, King of the Rings. It's just a poster, it's not even there. I sometimes do get things wrong and speak too quickly, but it's always considered at some point as to whether I keep it or not, and I always stand by it. I don't lie. I don't deliberately lie on any reason, shape, or form, which I find is not just a useful policy. It means that you can be authentic without worrying about stuff. You can turn around and say, well, my opinion, which is a really smart way of getting away from not quite better. But it's a great way to be able to position yourself. So with that in mind, I want to show you a couple of other videos all about branding, all about getting your head in the game. I'd love your thoughts. Again, comment and like everything that I say. You've got a choice, certainly, if you're on LinkedIn, of saying good idea or you want to support it or whatever. People doing that really help me to get this show out to more people, and then we get out to even more people, and then we grow the community. And we've got something very special coming to you. I can't tell you about it, but if you want to be able to have this all done properly, we've got a... No, I can't tell you about it. If you want to... Moving on, I can't tell you. So, with that all in mind about your branding and reinventing yourself and deciding who you're going to be, we're going to be going through a couple of things. How to start on social media, what you need to consider about rebranding yourself, and next up we're going to share with you a video. This video is all about the idea of what happens when you decide to position yourself as an artist. Now, you may not particularly want to be seen as a superstar or a musician or a movie star or any of those TV stars, any of those things. But if you are creating video, people will perceive you as putting yourself out there anyway. So it's worthwhile watching the big people, the big names, the artists do it right, do it wrong, to get your head around the ideas about what you could do more effectively. If you just join me, by the way, my name's Dave Crane. That's why it says it there. And sometimes I swap cameras to here. And sometimes I go, yeah, thank you. And sometimes I don't. I go back to here. It's a bit slow today, isn't it? A bit slow. Come on, over here. Come on! Is it frozen? Is it having a day off? It's such hard work. Anyway, as I was saying about growing your brand and thinking about what you want to position yourself as, have a look at this, because I think you'll see a lot of things that might be similarities with you as you grow. Let's speak on stage.
Hey guys, for Complex Hustle, I'm Kylie Mar. Let's talk about the importance of building a brand. First, branding is important because it's what separates competitors and helps consumers remember a product. You may be thinking, okay, well, I don't own a business or have products, so this doesn't apply to me. Wrong. It is crucial in any career to build yourself as a personal brand. Your brand will separate you from the competition and will help your audience or managers remember you, the product. Almost every person has a personal brand. Maybe you haven't consciously cultivated this brand, but it exists regardless. So if we're all going to have one, we might as well make it dope. Here are 4 tips to build a strong personal brand. Number 1, brand image. When building a brand, figure out what you want it to stand for. Beyoncé is a really good example of this. When we think of Beyoncé, we think of empowerment, womanhood, and being a boss. That is the brand image she has created for herself. In order to build a solid brand image, ask yourself, what is the impression you want others to have when they think of you? Number 2, create dope content. Be aware of what kind of content you're sharing on social media. Every post contributes to your personal brand. Instead of posting mundane pictures, add value to your audience by creating content that will be interesting to them. Basically, don't make them regret following you. Number 3, always evolve. Artists like Madonna and Justin Timberlake have successful brands because they're always reinventing themselves. You must reinvent in order to stay relevant because things are constantly and rapidly changing around you. A strong personal brand should keep the essence but always be evolving. You are your own brand, so use these tips and make it a successful one. For more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. For Complex Hustle, I'm Kylie Marr.
Well, I hope that had relevance for you. It's Speak on Stage. My name is Dave Crane. As before, I was talking about the importance of understanding what your brand is and how you're going to position it. Now, you don't have to think about your brand in terms of the very highest level, but you should really consider having your brand as something that you put on like a suit that you wear every day. You should find that your brand is what answers questions. Your brand is what talks to people. Your brand is what's genuine. Your brand is happy. Your brand is sad. It doesn't have to be false. The more you can closely make it to you, the better. But you might be saying, Dave, what about the fact that some days I'm having a good day, some days I'm having a bad day? Okay, well, maybe everybody doesn't want to know about your bad day, so don't do anything on those days. Or maybe be transparent and be honest and tell people you've got challenges, so at least they see you as a human being who, just like them, has to deal with everything. All the biggest influencers, all the biggest celebrities, when they do it right, look at the Kardashians, for instance. Their brand is born on all sorts of crazy dramas, some of which seem to be fabricated and scripted. Some of them are actually genuine as well. But the idea is that you see them warts and all, and whether you like them or you hate them, once you start watching the show, you can't take your eyes off them. Now, I understand you might be thinking about the fact that, no, this is not right for me. I'm far more private than that. I hate the idea of people knowing who I am and what I'm talking about. And I hate the idea that people will be contacting me about stuff I said. I'd rather be invisible. Well, that's an idea that works very well if you're still in hiding and also if you have a job that guarantees you're there for life. But if you want to be working in this liquid economy where your clients and your customers and your employers could be all over the world, and you might be working on shorter term contracts, you really have to consider that maybe this is time I create my brand. Now, you're also thinking, what if I put stuff online and people get really funny with it and interact with it, and there's haters and trolls and all sorts of challenges with that? You're absolutely right. There could be a few things that catch up with you like that. And I've experienced it, but I've experienced it terribly. It's not a challenge to throw down to people. What I'm saying is, if you are very careful about what you put out there and you avoid the main things, don't talk about gender politics, don't talk about race, don't talk about how much money you earn, don't talk about, in fact, I did my noise today, have I? That's good, isn't it? My noise. Not played that for a while. Don't talk about your politics and don't talk about your religion. Then generally people will like you, whoever you are. I broke that rule this year. It's the first time in my life I started to talk about race with Black Lives Matters, because I really felt that if I didn't do something, then I would be doing a disservice to all the people who are looking towards someone like me, who's semi-well known, to make a stand and say things. Now, was it painful? Yes, it was very painful. Did it make a lot of people uncomfortable? Yeah, it did. I had some friends who I know are friends who turned around and said, well, you know what? I enjoy watching your show, but I wish you hadn't talked about all the Black Lives Matter stuff. They were white friends because it made them feel uncomfortable. Now, if I hadn't talked about it, they would not feel uncomfortable, and they got a tiny, tiny, tiny little experience of what it feels like to be a person of color when you feel uncomfortable all the time. Did that do damage to my brand? I took a risk and said, yeah, I don't care if it does. If I don't make a stand, how can I look my daughter in the face and say other people didn't do enough for people of color? So you've got to choose and pick your battles very carefully. I love your thoughts, I love your comments. As always, it's a pleasure to have you sharing quality time with me and to join me every day. And make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. But why do you ring the bell on YouTube and on the other? Well, if you put it on YouTube especially, more subscribers the better. The more people I can reach and the more I can share content with you, because I spend less time having to market and more time putting together great ideas. And if you want to connect with me directly, go to thedavecrane.com. We'll be talking about the Industry Icon Program a little bit later on. And what the Industry Icon Program gives you is the opportunity to grow your own personal brand and position yourself in your market as the expert in your industry. And that's very exciting. I'll talk about it more later on. But meanwhile, I've got another video coming up here on Speak on Stage. If you just join me, what time do you call this? What were you doing? We've been going for, about 20 minutes, 21 minutes, and we've had a good laugh. We actually gave out free money all the time with great ideas. And you're going to have to watch the replay. And I should stop doing that, but I really like the noise. So if you just joined us, nice to see you, but next time. Next up, we're going to have a look at Gary Vaynerchuk, who I met a couple of months ago. He's probably seen as the #1 marketer, or one of the #1 marketers when it comes to a bit of an attitude. Now, his background is he did a show like this called The Wine Library, because his parents owned a wine library. Hey, it all fits, see? And for about 3 years, every day he'd talk about the different sorts of wines and so on. And it became a really big thing. He took his parents' company from 4 million sales a year up to about 30 million, just driving it through this show, which caught on with people. And it really changed people's mindset about broadcasting, about video, about buying online, because it was just as YouTube started, he was one of the pioneers of how that happened. And he's a really smart marketer, really knowledgeable guy, bit of a sweary Mary. So if there's any words in this next video that you don't like, I apologize. Just go earmuffs, la 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 la, and pretend it wasn't happening. And don't worry, the naughty Dave, the horrible evil Dave, won't give it to you next time until I'll play Gary Vaynerchuk again or something like that. And actually he's talking to Wycliffe Jean, who I was meeting, sounds like it was a thing that was going on. I met him in Montenegro, and I might actually share that video with you in this show in the future, because we talked about personal branding. So next up is Gary Vaynerchuk talking about building your brand on Speak on Stage.
Alexander asks, what are some essential things to do and to avoid when it comes to personal branding?
From my standpoint, the thing that, it's really, it's so funny. I make my parallels. I know you probably don't know a lot about this backstory, but I was in the wine business, and I came out and made YouTube videos when YouTube first came out, and I talked to people in Springfield, New Jersey, not far from East Orange. Right. In Springfield, New Jersey, in my office, I made videos just like this, and I talked to people about wine. I told people wine tasted like whatchamacallit bars, or like when you open a racquetball case, stuff that nobody had ever done before. And there was no Wine Spectator or Food Network that was gonna put on this guy that compared wine to the Iron Sheik giving somebody a camel clutch. Nobody was gonna put me on. The internet put me on, and I think the personal brand thing is really no different than musicality, AKA originality, AKA actually having the chops. I think so many of you, and it's funny, you guys know, my crew knows, I compare entrepreneurship right now to rap and hip hop because it's a genre that is getting looked upon, and all of a sudden it's fame and all this stuff, and you see a lot of fake entrepreneurs. That's the same thing as one-hit wonders just following the melodies or the hooks that work and there's nothing there. I think the #1 thing to building a brand, a personal brand, the #1 to do is to be you 24/7, 365, forever, never waver, regardless. Money and fame doesn't change you, it exposes you. So, it's binary, 1 and 0. Be yourself 24/7, 365, and the thing not to do is alter that in any shape or form.
Facts, man. Yo, in hip hop, we call that, you just spit some bars.
I'll take it. Now I'm good.
Bars,
Take that,
man.
put that quote card everywhere.
So right then, welcome back to Speak on Stage. Gary Vaynerchuk, as always, speaking smart marketing terms, and he knows his social media. So today, what I thought I'd do is give you a little crash course in social media. Now, for those of you who are experts and you know too much, then I apologize. We're going over old stuff that you probably know. For those of you who are just going, I have no clue, please start me off. What do? Do I show a photo of me? Yeah, you do show a photo of you. Make sure the photo of you is a photo of you, not a photo of you 20 years ago. People will be so disappointed when they meet you in real life and they'll walk straight past you and they'll feel like they've been robbed on Tinder, apparently. I'm married, of course I've not been on Tinder. I haven't. So moving on. Anyway, social media, a couple of things you need to think about. And this is actually from Udacity, which is a good site for learning to get new skills as well. So 5 things you need to consider, especially if you're thinking about getting a path to a career in social media marketing. You don't have to do that, but you do need to get your head around social media anyway, because social media, without doubt, is an essential skill that you need to have. If you can do it, and you do know more about social media than just how to get your own brand going, you might want to work on a role of community management, marketing generalist, content marketing, and brand strategy. All the above can be used for you when you start creating your brand, and you should do. Because even when you bring a product out, you should have an eye to the audience of what they're going to want, what you're going to want, and so on. We'll be talking more about that when we do the section on reinventing yourself. That's coming up after this, by the way. So 5 tips to kickstart your social media career. Let's start off at the very beginning. First thing is do your research. Make sure you understand exactly what's going on in the platform, what's going on in the media world. You do have to keep an eye on everything, by the way. It's not just set it and forget it. A lot of programs allow you to post your social media, leave it, and wait until the next time you're going to load it up and stack up different posts. That can be useful, and we'll talk about those platforms later on at some point, but you should always be aware of what's going on all the time. So make sure you do your research and stay on top of it. A lot of that stuff is free. A lot of the big experts and influencers share what's happening to their platforms on a regular basis. Then number 2, decide if you're a generalist or a specialist. Are you going to be somebody who just talks about it as though it's a general way of doing it? So, do some of this, do some of that. You work out where you want to put it. Or do you want to concentrate on one particular platform? For me, it used to be Facebook, and then all that stuff happened. It got sold. I'm not going to go on about it. But now it's more LinkedIn. I tend to spend more time there. Why? Because my clients are mainly on LinkedIn. The business professionals who understand that when we do business with you, it's got to be paid for. When you do business on Facebook, generally people say, can I have something? Go on, you've got lots of it. Can I have some? When you do it on Instagram, they go, oh, that's shiny. That's very shiny. Can I have a copy of that? But when you do it on LinkedIn, they know there's a business transaction of some kind. So I find it much easier to relate to people on LinkedIn. Doesn't mean I ignore the other platforms. And of course, YouTube. And my friend Ernesto Verdugo is obsessed with YouTube. But what point he does say that's really important is the fact that YouTube is not like any other social media. It's the world's second most powerful search engine. But more than that, it's the one thing that when you plant your social media, it stays and it grows. With this show, it's going to go out on all the platforms. It's going to go out on LinkedIn, YouTube. It's going to go out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope. But it's only on YouTube where you'll be able to look at it in 6 months' time. All the rest of it have a cycle of maybe 1 day, 20 minutes, 2 days before it's done its time. And then it's really hard to access that information, especially when you spend so much time doing it before. So YouTube is worth getting your head around, just in case you don't know. So a specialist on one platform, I would definitely say, but be a generalist on as much as you can for the rest of the stuff as well. Number 3, practice content creation. That is the key to it. This show, for me, is the ultimate content creation tool, because by doing this show, I spend about the same amount of time broadcasting, a little bit of time researching, as I would do making a post, making a video and editing it, or making a meme and having to get all the words put down and create it the right size. It's easier to broadcast and share some ideas with you and just keep talking. But that's because I'm a speaker. That's why Speak on Stage works, because I speak. I show you how to do this. Do you know what I mean? Just have a quick. Are you still here? Okay. Oh, that's good. Right, number 4, working on your personal branding. I love your comments, by the way. Please keep sending them through. And remember to like whenever something gets said. That can bring you money, can bring you happiness, can bring you love, can give you a sore finger. That one. I'm not going to show you which. It's that one. So work on your personal branding all the time because people will associate your success in your business and they will look at your actual personal brand to see if you make effort with that. The two need to grow together, and especially as more people are becoming freelancers and running their own business, you are your business. People associate you with your brand. And that's why sometimes it's worthwhile not even having a brand name. Sometimes your brand is your name. Your social media name is your brand. So right now we're doing Speak on Stage and Speak on Stage TV, but it's very easily associated with Dave Crane. If I just called the show Dave Crane, it would probably get more traction, but then people wouldn't know what Dave Crane means apart from really, really good looking older gentleman who doesn't show his chest hair because his wife said he couldn't. Well, what they mean is basically Speak on Stage tells you exactly what it does on a tin. When you go to speakonstage.com, you'll learn to speak. So it's a very simple brand, a very simple message, and I make sure I keep it very simple to connect the two together. And number 5 is this one, learn and unlearn and relearn. Platforms change, algorithms change, content changes. One day they may have a 5-second clip you can use that they really do push high because of the viewing figures being really big, and then they might extend it to being the same thing for a 10-minute video. If you look at all the different platforms, they change and they mold, and what tends to happen is they tend to outdo each other and they tend to acquire smaller ones. Now that would lead to a court case surely, and we'd have to be there explaining that it wasn't. I won't go there. But basically they alter their algorithms all the time. So if you're used to creating content, you're doing it a certain way, then if you don't know that they've changed it, you could miss out on huge opportunities to really push yourself higher amongst the community that you're working with. So those are the 5 things I would suggest. There's lots of ways of doing it. You can go to these guys here, blah, 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 at Udacity, or you can go to any other brand, or you can just go to YouTube. There are so many ways to learn to be more effective, and I really do urge that you take the time to do it, especially in these current times that are very challenging for all concerned, because you never know what's around the corner, you don't know what's going to happen next, but you do know that if you don't keep changing your game and reinventing, you could end up with a load of challenges that maybe you're not ready to deal with. So if you join me, then welcome back to Speak on Stage. My name's Dave Crane. As always, I haven't changed it, not even one bit. But I did call it Speak on Stage, and that's today's all about reinventing yourself and looking at a brand. And I hope you're enjoying the show, by the way. This stuff should be having you making notes. If not, watch it on the replay, and you'll get tons of tips that can really help you. I do it every single day to create this relationship, and I've got so many things lined up for you, so many guests, so many special features. I just want to be part of your life. I want to come around to your house and stalk you. Can I sit in your front room and eat pizza with you and watch Netflix? Bit much? I can never tell. All right then, how to reinvent yourself. Let's look at this. There's 10 things here you need to consider when reinventing yourself. And I think each single one of them, if you don't get them right, then you lose money on the table. And if you do get them right, you'll hear this noise. Because I forgot it, I'm just catching up. It's a thing. It's not a good thing, it's a thing. All right, number 1, be prepared to change whatever it takes. So if you're really holding on to the way you do your hair, well, don't walk around holding your hair, but if you're holding on to the way you do your hair, the way that you wear your clothes, don't take your clothes off. I'm going in the wrong direction with this. What I'm saying is be prepared to reinvent if it's going to be effective. You might find your audience doesn't like the way that you say certain things. So say them a way that they will like them. If you find that your audience is more interested in a certain part of your business and not interested in your particular hobbies, don't talk about your hobbies. It's all about them. So be prepared to make that decision. If you don't make that decision, then other people will, and you'll find it. When you look at the big celebrities, you look at all the people that have been around, your favorite people, actors, pop stars, TV presenters, maybe not so much TV presenters, they tend to be more constant, but movies and pop stars, certainly musicians, reinvent themselves all the time. Sometimes they go with a new movie or a new album because they want to create a new thing. They're acting. So act as if your best self is there, and you can always reinvent later on when you change it, just to sort of refresh the way people relate to you. Number 2, what is your target client's avatar? Are they male? Are they female? Would you understand what I just said? Who is your target client in baby language? Who's your target client? And if they had an avatar that represented them, a little cartoon character version of them, what would it look like, and what does it like, and what things does it talk about? What does it eat? Does it have any kids? It doesn't eat kids. Does it have any special interests? What age is it? He or she, I shouldn't say it, it's not an avatar, it's a real person. But when you work out who your target avatar is, your target clients, then you start creating content for them. Not what you want, but what they want. They might have no interest in what you want, but you only want it what they... So if you watch all your favorite presenters, your favorite movies, your favorite podcasts, why do you pay attention to them? Because they speak to you, they resonate with you. They get your Wi-Fi code immediately. Yeah. Number 3, how can you match it naturally? How can you get the Wi-Fi code so it becomes part of what you actually do on a regular basis? How can you tweak what you are to be what they want so it doesn't feel like it's not genuine? You know when you're out with somebody and they put on a posh voice when they go to a restaurant and you turn around and say, who is that speaking? This is my lovely posh voice. Maybe not spitting like that. My posh voice, I go into restaurants all the time. And they look at me and say, oh, he's a very posh person. Bit of a weird voice and carrying a cup. Can't bring cups into a restaurant, especially ones that have got, ow, 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 hold it by the handle. How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup, and that's toothless. We did that joke earlier. Number 4, how can you enhance the match? By social proof. Social proof is all about your social proof online, your social media, your ability to use Facebook and LinkedIn and do video and have pictures and also have testimonials from people saying that this is true, that's who you are. So people will glance. When you get a business card from people and the days when you used to get business cards, hold on a minute, let me just see if I can find my business card. It's quite nice. I will probably never, ever, ever show this business card again. Can you see it there? Just hold it here, next to my head. Should keep it there so people can see me. On one side it's gold plated, it says Dave Crane CEO. The other side has my details and it's looking very stylish on the back there. Can you see that? Nobody cares. That'll never go out to anybody. I've got a big box full of them. Why? Because people won't take cards from you for quite some time because of coronavirus. Your card will be different. They will literally get your phone and you'll send a card to them by either tapping them together or swiping or just using an app that sends it. They'll look you up online and that's how we're going to find out exactly who you are and what you do. So be prepared for that. So therefore, what can you do to make sure that when we do find you, it's very congruent with what they're after? That's what you need to work on. The answer I will give you at a different stage, or I will teach you when you do the Industry Icon program. We go through it bit by bit. I'm working with some famous names at the moment, but I can't tell you. And the reason I can't tell you is because then you're going to go, oh, Dave did that. It wasn't them. So that's why I don't tell anybody. Okay. And number 5. What can you do to fill that gap as quickly as possible right now? So it's not just one thing, collecting testimonials and getting these videos and getting all these old pictures of you doing gigs and things that you've got as awards and all that other stuff. What can you do right now to make people think that you're the person to deal with? So for instance, if you are a keen amateur cook or chef and you now want to open your own kitchen, you might not have much evidence apart from you smiling, holding a little... I know this is the latest drink I've made. It's really nice. And you've got a photo like that with all your family standing around, sort of like with a thumbs up or going, or whatever they do when you make a new concoction. Why don't you start a cooking program? You start a cooking program and you start sharing with people exactly all the recipes that you use or the ways that you'd suggest that they move forward with doing stuff. Within a very short amount of time, people will realize that you're an expert. And when they realize you're an expert, it doesn't matter what your back catalog is. They might want to have a look at it, but because everyone's obsessed with what's in it for me right now, that's what we're going to be looking at. What do I get from this right now by you? And so the more you build up stuff that's current, you can fill up the back end of it later, and you can do websites that create just enough for people to be convinced that you bring in with them certainty. All right, number 7. What can you do to emulate and copy experts who are in the field? Oh no, sorry, I've jumped ahead. It's number 6. I know. Ow! Number 6. Who already fills that gap? Who do you know in your chosen industry, your niche, the one you want to be connected to, who's a pioneer and an expert? Now, if you're on a niche that's kind of weird, or a niche that's not really got superstars in, like, the number one accountant. No offense to accountants. I don't mean to offend anybody. But you don't often see accountants talking about, you know what? I did some accounts the other day and they were fantastic. You'd be so proud of me. Nobody says that, but you could. In the accountant's world, there will be some very well-respected people who've written books, written software. What do they do to get themselves respected? Copy that. And you could find yourself getting on the food chain or getting on the same table of thought or the same mastermind group or the same platform as them because you've done what they do. Does that make sense? Another noise. Okay, number 7, finally. What can you do to emulate and copy them? Now, be very careful about copying. Don't steal everything that they do because it will be spotted by people who know that other person's brand and will just come down hard on you that you're a copycat, and that person might sue you. But what you can do is emulate the areas that they're specifically very good. They like the things that they're brilliant at. You can look at those areas and say, right, I can do my own version of that. And people will appreciate it and they'll like it because you've done that. So number 8, can you compete on price? What is it that you're going to actually competing on? Now, competing on price does not necessarily mean that you should drop your prices. I actually believe the opposite. If you're working so hard to make yourself into a premium brand, my phone was ringing then. Thank you very much for ringing. Ooh. Do you know that number? Shall I call him now? Hello? Yeah, you just called me. Yeah, Dave Crane. Speak on stage. I'm live. And you can kiss it. I didn't really do that. All right. Competing on price? I would never do that. That's really bad. Don't copy everything I say. Copy what I say, not what I do. You know what I mean. Competing on price, I raise my prices. Why? Because then it positions you differently. Because it means if you're putting so much time and effort, and you've got to account for it, how much time have you done to raise your brand, to raise your knowledge and position you as the best? Why would you want to sell yourself cheap? But you might want to sell yourself cheap because that leaves you in a certain gap in the market. Look into pricing, look into branding, look at your competitors. They do not drop their prices, they probably raise them. And despite what people say, if you've got a product that people want and they really believe you're that good, one thing that they don't have is time. At the top of the food chain, the big decision makers are running out of time. They're always under demand, they're always under pressure. If you can say this is a solution, it's done for you, I'll do it with you and I'll save you half the time, or even you can do it in a fraction of the time because I'll do it and hand it to you, people will pay that money. So don't be scared to think like that. Just because there's a pandemic on doesn't mean that there's nothing that you can do with your pricing, okay? Number 9, because I talked about pricing. I love pressing that. Have you noticed? It's like a big kid at Christmas. Or Eid. Or another festival. Chinese New Year. Diwali. Moving on, number 9, Trojan Horse Project. Create a Trojan Horse project that allows you to be seen in the best light by everybody. If you don't know the story of the Trojan Horse, it was Troy and Greece. Troy was this big city that had big fortunes. Watch the Brad Pitt movie. Oh, I've just said Brad Pitt, haven't I? So as soon as I say Brad Pitt, everyone just goes, Brad Pitt. I don't know why I'm staring at my ceiling, but they're saying it. So watch a movie, it'll explain more. But the idea is to create something that people don't know what it is, and it gets into their house, and then all these soldiers come out and kill everybody. No, that was Troy. The Trojan Horse idea is you create something that's a vehicle from your existing business so people can start to see who the new you is, and it's not actually doing any damage to your existing brand, but it grows who people perceive you to be and connects you with the people that you want to be connected with. I'll explain more about Trojan horses, but you get the idea. And number 10, leverage to create certainty. Certainty is what you sell. Forget your brand, whatever it is, you sell certainty. You sell the certainty that if you come with me, like for instance, speak on stage. You have seen enough of this show, or maybe this is the first time you've seen me, to know I know what I'm talking about. Because I've been talking now for, 43 minutes. I can't believe it either. Yeah, I know. 43 minutes. And from that, you can see that even though I have a lot of fun with the show, I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to branding. Leverage it as much as possible. Turn things around to create it so people know that you are the person they need to be connected with. So those are the things I'd recommend if you want to become really effective and be better at growing your relationship with everybody when it comes to your personal brand and reinvention. Next up, we're going to look at your industry icon program. And it's going to start any minute now. It's not frozen, and here we go. Thank you so much. And by the way, I love your comments, by the way. I answer everything. And we love your shares. We love your likes. We love everything that you do. The more you can comment, the more you can interact with the show, not only the better I feel, because I don't get paid for this. I just do it for the love. And in fact, I can close the door so the dogs don't come in looking for biscuits. My daughter doesn't say, look what I've just done on YouTube. And my wife doesn't do garden. Well, she does do the garden, but she tells me to do... I'll move on. So the more that you interact, the better. Now, Industry Icon Program is created to make you fast-track to being really successful. When you do this, I hold you by your hand and I move you up the food chain very quickly. We work out what your industry is. We work out who the competition is. We work out what you want to be doing to position yourself differently from everybody else. We go through your existing brand. We look at your ability to speak, to create product, to go through all the different areas that you need to have. And we also do it over a period of time. So within a very short amount of time, like 3 months, you'll already be seen as one of the best in your industry. Now, the way to do it is to really work hard on it. We'll be working together over this period of time, but everything we do is like a super heightened version of this show, but basically all about you, to get you faster to where you need to be. Remember yesterday I was talking about mentors? I see myself as a mentor, not as the hero of the story. You're the hero. That's the whole point. So with that, we reverse engineer the big successes of people that you know, love, and like and trust. People like Michelle Obama, Gary Vaynerchuk, you saw earlier as an expert talking about social media and branding, and Arianna Huffington, and many, many more. So that's what we do with the Industry Icon Program. Contact me directly. I'll give you a 10 to 15 minute free consultation. Get onto me through going to speakonstage.com, and from there you'll be able to see the link to fill it in. Contact me with the details here, and we'll find a place for you. You can fill it in, and we'll sit and we'll talk about how to get you to where you truly need to be. It's really effective, and right now, being seen as one of the best in your industry is what everybody should be considering. So with that, it's just about coming to the end of the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. I love your likes, I love your comments. I love the way that you think about the stuff that we're doing and sharing every single day. I want to grow this community, and I'll be sharing with you interviews in the future with some really well-known people, certainly on social media, some dear friends of mine, who'll be giving you insights in their own particular industry. And you might be thinking now about, what do I do to get to where I have to be? And there are a lot of challenges out there, and it is not easy to be able to push yourself forward. But here's the way I see it. I feel that the ground is dropping away beneath our feet. I really do. I really feel that if you don't start doing something with your ability to be a more effective communicator, then not only are you leaving yourself exposed to your ability to be more effective, but you're leaving yourself in a position where anybody who's not as good as you can start stepping up and getting to the position that you truly want to be in. And that's not the way you want to be. As always, I love your thoughts, I love your comments. I'll be back same time tomorrow. And if you have any questions, then please send them to me. You can go to thedavecrane.com, which is details should be there. You can catch me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and on YouTube, and subscribe so you get all the latest stuff as and when it happens. And I'll be back same time tomorrow. And I hope you've had a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed everything we've shared. If you have enjoyed it, then my name's Dave Crane. If you haven't enjoyed it, then my name is still Dave Crane. And I hope that tomorrow I can do a little bit more to make you happier. I'm going to leave it with a video today talking about the way that I see the world, and the reason I have a sense of urgency about making sure that all falls into place. Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Look after yourself. Stay safe was what I was trying to say. And have a wonderful day. Why are we here? Is there some massive reason, some huge pattern, some strategy, some solution, some formula that says all people are here to contribute? There's some amazing journey. The way we've been from the past, the road behind us, the road ahead, is all part of some amazing plan that nobody told us all about? Or maybe, just maybe, we're all an accident. Maybe there is no design. Maybe right now, just like the dinosaurs, just like everything that came before us and everything that's going to come after us, this is just our time. You're waiting for some divine reason to prove to you why it all makes such sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe the chance to have a different religion is all based on the country you're born in, the TV you watched, the friends you had, the parents and how they grew up, and also the airline above you that sends people on their own trips and their own journeys. Maybe it's a quirk of fate that you are the color you are, and the people that share lives with you are just an accident as well. Maybe the pets that you have with you and the friends that you choose are all by accident, but the only one thing that you have is choice. What you do about it, how are you going to let it affect you, and what are you going to do next? Supposing all that was true, and there is no pattern, there is no end game, and one day you'll be dead, would you approach things differently? Would you enjoy everything better? And would you learn to tell people, sometimes just to kiss it, a lot faster, so you can get on with your life? I know where I sit on this. And my question to you is, where do you sit?